on behalf of Applitools, I'm delighted to welcome you to this exclusive event with engineering leaders from top companies to explore the future of testing 2020 and beyond. Today, Applitools is providing end-to-end next-generation testing platform that is based on visual AI. Your first question might be, why are we talking about the future of testing? And now we think it would look like in the coming few years is going to change, and this is exactly what we want to discuss. We need testing tools and testing infrastructure that would be able to cater to software delivery as it is today. AI, which Applitools does, can make automated tests faster, better, more reliable, and more scalable. Maybe that's the answer.
I'm Angie. I'm an automation architect at Applitools. I had the idea to gather some best practices from some of the top companies. Now, for starters, 100% of the companies that I researched employ automated tests to expedite their release cycles. Test automation is a must-have. Now, I know from personal experience how difficult it is for developers to find time to write tests, and also how difficult it is to have test teams write the code to automate the tests. Every single one of the companies I spoke with, they said that they had their developers involved in writing tests. When talking with these companies, I wanted to make sure that we're talking about more than just the unit test here. So I inquired about which tests the companies automated. This was really interesting compared to what the top dogs are using. So all of them use JavaScript. So I asked the companies about their strategies when it comes to testing across multiple browsers and viewport sizes. So a few said that they're no longer doing these cross-platform testing. Others use device farms from cloud providers, and many are using Applitools' new ultra-fast grid. And Applitools was used by all of the top dog companies for visual testing. So 100% of the companies used Applitools along with their testing framework for web tests. So if you have 100, everything you've done, then congratulations, you are one of these top dog companies as well. You can get a lot of bang for your buck by using something like the ultra-fast grid that I talked about. So I don't have to manage any of those things. I can basically run my tests against everything that my application supports. Hopefully, what I've shared with you today is meant to be something that's encouraging, something to give you like a roadmap of things that your team can aspire towards, if not already there.
My name is Abel. I'm a principal cloud advocate and the DevOps lead here at Microsoft. DevOps is something very, very specific. DevOps is a union of people, process, and products to enable the continuous delivery of value to our end users. The speed of business in today's world is so ridiculously fast. The only way engineering teams can keep up is by adopting DevOps best practices. And it's all about speed, right? How quickly can I get the new changes, new features, new value out to my end users? But with the speed comes a lot of problems as well. We had to teach our devs that quality was their responsibility. Quality is every single engineer's responsibility, not just the QA teams, everyone's. We finally decided to make the engineers feel the pain of their own bad code. So because you don't want to feel that pain, you're going to police yourself. So we do, right? Every check-in has to go through a pull request, right? A code review. And as soon as I see someone wants a pull request, I jump on it immediately. And I'm looking through my teammates' code with a fine-tooth comb because I don't want their bad code to make me be on the support call. There is still a need for integration tests and for eyeballs, right? This is where we put in tools like Applitools, where they can use their AI-powered visual testing to really help, right? And we stick this within our pipeline. So again, this helps us test much quicker. So we don't need to have someone just stare at every single automated UI test to make sure everything looks good. The world has changed dramatically for me as an engineer from 20 years ago when I first started writing code. We live in a DevOps world now where we move at ridiculous speeds. But if you adopt these new way of maintaining quality in your DevOps world, you actually end up with applications of even higher quality.
So what does actually scaling QA at a hypergrowth startup means like? It means like this GIF, we are running very fast and speed means everything to us. We are releasing daily and on demand. So that's why we need to embrace this newer kind of technology to move with the speed. So what are the advantages we get for using machine learning AI-enabled tool like Applitools? As we run more and more tests, it actually learns a pattern, like which one to ignore, which one to capture more. Please learn what the best practices are so that we are in the right path of future of testing. So as a community, we can come up and do way better than what we are doing today.
Modern cross-browser testing. Let's talk about that. How do we do cross-browser testing in the modern world? Lesson number 1 of modern cross-browser testing is 1, eliminate the matrix, eliminate the functional testing grid. Use those resources, and those are huge amounts of resources, to pump up testing where you really need it. And start shifting left to aid the developers to write the tests themselves so you can focus on the bigger picture. Functionally, there's just one browser, but visually, there are now many, many form factors for that browser to live in. So lesson number 2 of modern cross-browser testing is be aware of which form factors you need to support. Visually test them using a visual grid like the Applitools ultra-fast grid. And utilize those front-end developers. They should test too. They should also be writing those visual tests along with you.
We run our tests, grab that DOM snapshot on a headless browser, and then we send it over to Applitools. And it allowed us, in a sense, to simplify everything that we were doing from front-end testing. And this is a pretty simple architecture. The cost was really low. It took us less than about a month and a half to get this all up and running.
Taking a screenshot or a DOM snapshot is, well, it's the only way you can really test. And that the DOM snapshot where you just check the HTML is a good start, but you're not doing really visual testing, because if you're not checking the HTML and the CSS together as it visually is in the browser, you're just checking that your divs are in the correct order.
Continue to innovate, try to find ways to make our tests more reliable. Automated testing is very boilerplate. Try to find ways to make it more efficient and make it easier for developers. The easier you make it for developers, the easier they buy into automation. That's been my success.
Now we have the tooling for visual testing, so for me, it's part of the end-to-end testing, definitely, and it's really important.
How to be intentional in creating functional test automation that can be reused for non-functional testing and incorporated early into a continuous testing approach.
We need to automate to be able to sustain and to be able to release quickly to market.
We love Applitools here at PlayStation. We use it heavily in localization testing, in accessibility testing.
It is very important that we collectively as a community, as an automation community, use each other and leverage each other's experiences to be able to make our automation perfect.
So if you look at the past, software development has been around for quite some time. The very first software testing books were released in the 70s by Glenford Myers and Jerry Weinberg, and they also created some of the foundational approaches to test software that are still in use today. In many contexts, we moved on to an agile development model. The time to get to market has also gotten really faster. So I feel like in the future, we're going to have more robust automation that we can really trust the results. I hope that we are living closer to the future than we are today. So let's avoid all this repetition and let's build these smarter tools and smarter ways to develop software.